You are an entrepreneur, a professional, a speaker, or a coach. And although you've come a long way, it's time for you to take it to the next level. We've got you. This is the Author to Authority podcast. We'll help you use authority and influencer marketing to build your business stronger and faster by publishing a book. You'll hear from guests that are thought leaders in sales, marketing, networking, communication, social media, promotion, and business leadership. Let's do it. This is the Author to Authority podcast. And now your host, the extraordinary word ninja, Kim Thompson-Pinder.
Welcome to the Author to Authority podcast. And today, I am excited for today's topic of conversation because websites have become so commonplace that people have really forgotten, or entrepreneurs have forgotten, what their website is supposed to be used for. So I'm so glad to welcome Emmanuel Rose today to the show. Now, Emmanuel was born and raised on the West Coast of the United States. He has spent over 3 decades earning a reputation in cutting-edge marketing. He's a renowned expert in the field, and he specializes in branding, advertising, and day-to-day operations at his digital agency, Strategic eMarketing. His passion lies in helping companies achieve business success from bottom to the top. I love that. Emmanuel's unique approach to marketing strategies has resulted in countless clients reaching their goals. Emmanuel enjoys learning his craft and implementing new techniques and theories for his clients, not only in his home state of Oregon, but around the world. And together with his hand-selected staff, Emmanuel creates opportunities for solving challenges in the ever-changing digital landscape. Welcome to the show, Emmanuel.
Thank you so much, Kim. I'm excited to have a conversation with you today.
Me as well. This is the first time on my show. This is the third podcast recording today. So lips got to catch up with the brain. This is your first time on the Author to Authority podcast. I would love for you to take a little bit of time and just share a bit of your business story and how did you come to really have a passion for marketing?
You know, that's a great question. It was kind of like one of those deals where I just kind of stumbled onto it by my interest. You know, I was one of those kids that had sold seeds door to door so I could buy a balsa wood airplane, and did a lot of those sorts of mowed lawns for the neighbors, and had my own tutoring business when I was in college. And I've always been interested in doing my own thing. I'm not very good at following the rules. And so not best employee, but I'm always out there looking and seeing what's going on and how I can participate in my own way. So as I got involved in organizations, then, you know, most people don't want to go be the hunter or the salesperson, and then don't want to study on how to actually do good marketing and create the leads. And so I kind of fell into it that way, and then have spent the years educating myself both with books and seminars and on the ground dirt time.
I love what you just said, Emmanuel, because there are times when people feel disqualified because they don't have sort of that, you know, college, university education. And I'm not against it at all, but not everyone gets that opportunity. And I'm like you. I'm like a bootstrap person. Give me a book, give me a video, give me Google.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'll figure it out. Now, do I always get it great or right?
No.
Now, that's when you bring in experts like yourself to come in and help me or teach me or train me. But I love the fact that you didn't let the lack of education stop you. You just said, I'm going to do this and I'm going to learn how. And I think that's a trait of a true entrepreneur, is that learning spirit, that it doesn't matter if you don't have the education, you're going to start doing it. Then you'll read the book on it. You'll make several mistakes. Then you'll Google it. And then you'll watch a few videos on it.
Yeah.
And then when you really have to, you will find someone to teach you and train you how to do it.
Or yeah. And that's what is so neat about the time we live in, is that there's these sites like Clarity.fm and these other connector sites where you can schedule these fractional times with people to learn about any part of the business that you're interested in or need to know about, and it is, you know, hundreds of dollars instead of hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that.
That is cool. I love it. I've never heard of that site before.
Yeah, it's Clarity, CLARITY. I think pretty sure FM, and I've hired lots of people for 1 or 2 or 3 conversations to give me very tactical and specific help on problems that I had. Plus, I mean, like you said, just reading the books and testing and trying things and being willing to make mistakes and learn experientially. That's probably, you know, that's how I'm wired. I did go to college. I studied psychology, but
that's a good thing for marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. It has kind of triggered a lot of my my hobbies and my interest in the grandkids and you know, and being more of a human, right? They always say about psych majors, they're in there to try to figure out themselves.
Oh, you mentioned grandkids, and that always brings a smile to this Nana's heart.
Oh,
they're like the reward for raising your kids. Everything you went through with raising your kids, you get rewarded with the grandkids.
Yeah, well, I skipped straight from not having kids to being grandpa, or as they call me, papoose, which is an adopted quasi Greek into their own language. So papu is the Greek word for grandpa, but they call me papoose, which is, I really, you know, it's kind of fun. It's my own little, I feel like I'm half moose, half grandpa.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, it was funny that you mentioned that you did go to school, but for me, one of the things that has, or, you know, working with people on the Clarity website, and as a publisher and as a podcast host, over the years, I've gotten a university level education from my clients and my podcast guests.
Yeah.
It has been an incredible experience. And because I work closely with my clients, and, you know, as a podcast guest, usually you feel a little bit indebted to me for coming on the show. And so many times I've had just a quick question that I've needed answered, and I'll reach out to one of my podcast guests, and they're like, "Sure, Kim, I'll help you. Let's hop on a call. Let's get this fixed for you."
Absolutely.
So it's been one of the wonderful things about being a publisher and being a podcast host, because as one of the things of owning the company is I get to choose what I do. And one of my favorite parts is interviewing the clients for their chapters. So I get to ask them lots of questions.
That's great. Yeah. And my email, my phone's always open to you as well. Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You betcha.
So let's shift gears here a little bit. And I know you've come prepared today to talk about using your website as a critical sales and marketing and staff recruitment tool. So I'm going to let you loose to talk about that for a bit, and then we'll discuss it.
Yeah. So, you know, obviously the website has gone through lots of iterations over the life of the internet, and companies that have been in business for a decade or 2 decades, sometimes the website can get stale, and you know, you need to make changes to it, but you're not sure exactly what to do with it. I personally, we know that that the millennials and Gen Z are very oriented to self-education, and so we have to prepare the website to be able to be the digital salesperson with lots of different styles of content.
Mm-hmm.
So not just long blog posts, but then also video content, and not just video content that's crisp and clean and perfect from a production agency, but 10-second clips or 1-minute clips from the CEO or from other staff telling stories, and then lots of lifestyle content about the company, about what sort of what kind of or organizations that you're supporting or projects that you're involved in the community, so that it becomes its own little world of telling the company's story, and more so than just being a static sales page.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree with you more. It's websites aren't just these, one little page thing anymore. You talked about the website having life. And I think that's the crucial word that you use there is your website kind of needs to be alive. It needs to be growing and changing, and it needs to have vibrancy and attractiveness and different types of content. You listed some of those content, and I thought some things. I thought, wait, I don't have a video as a CEO on my website. Maybe that needs to go on my to-do list.
Absolutely. Yeah. While you're driving between appointments or driving to a fundraiser, that 60 seconds of you reflecting on your day and something that was interesting is just as relevant and valuable as a super polished piece. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So where would you kind of place those pieces on your website? Because obviously there's the blog, but are there other areas where you could create to have that kind of content, or should it all just be in one spot?
It's personal to the company about how their funnels are set up, but I really still like to adhere to the idea that you've got your blog and your about section. And those are the two places to really buff it up, as well as, the homepage can be a little more static and then can add in this really dynamic content into about and blog, and that you're bringing back your social posts back to those two sections as well, so that you give people an easy entry into the self-education part of learning about your company, your products and services.
That is cool. So what are some of the other things that, especially people who are like small scale entrepreneurs, people who maybe don't have huge marketing budgets and budgets for digital, designs of websites and that, what would be some of the most critical elements to you that need to be on the website?
Let's see. So I think, like, just in this big picture that we're talking about, I think it's critical, that you talk about the organizations that you support that are in your local area, whether you're in Rotary or you're donating to time to different nonprofits, things that you care about. So that's one thing. For those of us who are older, 45 and older, that's not how we were trained to do business, but we got to integrate that in. Family vacations, where you went, what organizations you're involved with in the community. So those are critical pieces that we got to add in. And the simple way to execute that literally is by video on your. And so you can take that 60 seconds of video, have that transcribed, build a blog post from it, post the video to YouTube, back onto your website. You're creating all kinds of good link juice, and you're giving people a way to interact with the website in the way they want to, whether it's watching video or reading. And then you have social content as well.
That is awesome. One I was wondering about as well is in the title, it says staff recruitment tools. So can you talk a little bit more about using your website as that?
Yeah. So the idea that in this kind of 2023, people are not looking for careers. They're looking for places to work where they believe in the people and the function of the business, right? And maybe not in that order, maybe in that order. But we know the Zs, especially, and the millennials also really want to be someplace where they getting to have good experiences, learning a lot of things, and are working with people they like. So it's critical that you bring in this lifestyle part of the business and the culture of the business by video and pictures and outings that the company has participated in, and show the people as well as the product and the outcomes that you're creating for your customers. And so the more that you can communicate that in a clean marketing message way, then the more attractive your company will be when you're duking it out for staff, which we know we've all suffered through in the last few years.
So I'm just wondering, how would that apply more to very small businesses? So, more like consultants, professionals who may not really have a lot of staff as per se. And how would they present on a website?
Then they look at also who their contributors are, right? We all have independent contractors that we work with. Could be the bookkeeper or accountant group they work with. Could be their attorney would also be willing to be on a about page as part of the team, so that expanding the idea of staffing brand advocates.
Okay, all right. Do you have any other suggestions or things for us you've got prepared for us today?
But it's important and sometimes challenging as a solopreneur or a small business operator. When you got a small, it's challenging to get marketing focused on target groups. And so, for instance, I work with health clubs, and they're always like, well, we need more memberships. Well, okay, yeah. But everybody in the different age strata has got different reasons for getting a membership, right? When you're over 50, you're just working to maintain your flexibility and your strength, so you can going out swinging the grandkids on the swing set, or so you can play golf or go on a twice a year rafting trip or something. So that target group has got different concerns and needs, and has to have different messaging than a Gen Z kid who is in college. So it's important to think about break down what your goals are into stratified targets, and then adjust your messaging with the idea of who you're talking to. And the beauty is that now we can adjust that targeting very quickly with the AI tools that are out there. And so it's important as solopreneurs or small business owners to get familiar with Bard and Chat and Grammarly and some of these tools, so you can create a piece of content and then have the machine update and target as a starting point, and then you can refine the targeting as the final part of that.
Yeah, I haven't used AI yet. Well, I can't 100% that I do occasionally use one for show notes, just to give me a quick foundation. For the most part, I don't use AI for writing, but I can say that Grammarly has been a wonderful tool over the years, especially if you pay for the upgraded version. What I did is I paid for it. Well, okay. I probably paid for it for a couple of years, just because in the first few years of the business, I was really using it. But it was a wonderful tool to help increase my grammar skills.
Yep.
I was a good writer. Grammar. This is why I always have editor. And it showed me patterns. And that was a big thing with Grammarly. It showed the consistent patterns of grammatical behavior and what to do to fix it. So it forced me to improve my writing. Do I still need an editor? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wrote a piece yesterday, sent it off to the editor, got it back. I was hoping to see very little in the track changes. But some of the common mistakes I used to make, I didn't see there. We were getting to trouble with like colons and semicolons. They were
right.
Giving me some issues there. Yeah, I think my opinion on AI is I do recognize it as a wonderful tool, and it can help you in some ways. For me specifically, because I teach a lot on authority marketing, I think learning to be able to write your own content is important, because you have your own unique voice. And that's part of being that authority in your niche, is having that unique voice. And so for me, I wouldn't recommend, if you're trying to position yourself, to not necessarily use AI, because you want to have that unique perspective that catches people's attention. So that's just kind of my thought on it.
I agree 100% with you. I think the way I'm mentioning it here is just that we take it to spin, right? And you say, please rewrite this piece that I wrote for 50-year-old Emmanuel Rowe and spin it for the 22-year-old nephew of Emmanuel. And,
oh yeah.
And then you another draft, but the rule with AI is you always have to go through and clean it up and customize it back to yourself. I totally agree with you, Kim.
Mm-hmm. Well, we got a few minutes left here, Emmanuel. Do you have anything else you want to share with us?
Well, yeah, absolutely. The coming generation, the Gen Z generation, is a big economic blast of humans, and they have very specific and very specific psychology. And so it's important as entrepreneurs that we understand that that they're very interested in learning about things. They very much want to have experiences. They don't want to just go shopping. They want to actually experience the products and services. And so we have to dig a little deeper into creating events and speak to them in the way that they can be heard, or that you can be heard by them, rather.
I think that's sound advice. It's sound advice when you're dealing with any of the generations. Usually you tend to understand yours the best.
Right.
But you can't just cater to your own generation if you're going to have a successful business. So sage advice there, Emmanuel, on understanding, what the different generations want. And it takes research. And sometimes, what I found some of the best research is just talk to people in that generation. When I want to know what baby boomers think, I go talk to baby boomers.
Right.
My kids are millennials, so I talk to my kids. To know too many Gen Zs yet. I can work on getting to know a few. And then I've got my grandbabies who are 4 and almost 1, so they will give me lots of information as they grow and develop. I'm excited for that. Emmanuel, if people have enjoyed today's conversation and they would like to connect with you, how can they do that? And do you have any freebies for us today?
You can contact me on emmanuelrose.com, and my email's on that website, and I have a workbook about marketing to Gen Z that I will be happy to either email you or mail you.
Okay. Just taking some notes here. All right. So we have time. Would you like to share one final thought before we go?
Yeah, I would say be committed to being a lifelong learner and follow the threads that you're interested in as deeply as you can.
Thank you. That was awesome. So this has been Emmanuel Rose and Kim Thompson-Pinder on the Author to Authority podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye now.
You've been listening to the Author to Authority podcast. The extraordinary word ninja, Kim Thompson-Pinder, has helped over 200 entrepreneurs, professionals, speakers, and coaches write and publish their books that have become incredible marketing tools for their business. And many of those have gone on to become Amazon best-selling authors and have used their books to land high-level clients and get on big stages. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit the website at www.authortoauthoritypodcast.com. See you next time.